You don't need therapy, you just need to start a journaling habit. Today, we're diving into a topic that many of us can relate to, the feeling that we need therapy. But what if I told you that there's an alternative that might work just as well for many of us? Yep, that's right. I'm talking about journaling. Assalamu alaykum, friends. Mariam here from Sisters Flourish, where I share what I'm learning about productivity and dua and how they can change our lives. But first, a quick disclaimer before we get into the voice note. A lot of people today think that they need therapy. This is mainly due to the high stress lives that we're living, right? But therapy is not a need for everyone. I think it's a nice to have for everyone. In fact, it's a strong nice to have. But is it a need? I doubt it is. Now, are there cases where people do need therapy? Of course, 100% yes. This voice note is not for those who do need therapy. Please, please seek the help you need from a professional if that's you, okay? This voice note is for the rest of us who think we need therapy. Cool? Cool. Also, by the way, if your primary care provider says that you do need therapy but you cannot afford it yet, journaling can be a great first step. So, why do the rest of us think we need therapy? Number one, we're stressed out. Our mental health is low key falling apart. We're spiraling. Maybe we need to process our emotions or unpack stuff because what is all this? We're stuck and we want to find clarity on our next steps, right? Or maybe we just want a safe space to feel heard with zero judgment. If you're nodding along to these points, this voice note is for you. The good news is journaling can help you with all of the points that I mentioned. Here are 6 ways that I use journaling to get similar results to what we get from therapy. Not the same, of course, but similar. Number 1, journaling for stress relief. I recently learned that the stress that we feel is not always due to the situation at hand. We usually feel stressed because we don't know how to cope with the situation at hand. So I'll give you an example. My husband, he's so chill, like when something happens, because he believes that most things have a solution. But my brain, my brain sees many situations as a threat to my entire existence. So what journaling does is it helps me break down my stressors and see them from a different perspective. Like I would slow down enough to ask myself, is my homeschool really falling apart? Am I really messing my kids up forever? Is the workload really going to make me lose my mind? Right? So journaling helps me talk back to the stressful situation and channel my inner chill. Number 2, journaling for mental well-being. Writing down my thoughts and feelings gives me a clearer picture of my mental state. It's like having a conversation with myself, and sometimes, honestly, that's all I need to feel better. So when I'm feeling stuck and my mental health feels kind of mental, the process of writing things out feels like someone is holding up a mirror to help me see a way out, to help me find my way through, to remind me to be grateful, to remind me to call on Allah even. Number 3, journaling when I'm spiraling. So, spiraling, according to Google, is a cycle of negative thought patterns that can escalate and become overwhelming. Okay, so this spiraling thing is like my internal state a lot of the time, especially around that time of the month. And before I know it, I'm imagining worst case scenarios for every single thing. So when I feel like I'm spiraling, journaling acts as a grounding tool to remind me to be here now. So I write and write and write down those overwhelming thoughts, and then somehow writing it down with pen and paper helps me slow down and think more rationally. I usually end the journaling session with, here's what I think the problem is, and here's a solution I could try. Ya Allah, help me XYZ. Number 4, journaling to process emotions. I'm usually quiet when I get offended, but my brain does not keep quiet. My brain does not stop. I have used journaling to unpack some deep feelings of different emotions like envy and anger and hurt and rejection. We all have those moments, right? When we feel these big emotions inside and don't know what to do with them. Well, Journaling gives me space and time to analyze step by step what's under those big feelings. A few years ago, I felt envy, which I knew had no place in my heart. I was so bothered by it, and I started journaling about whatever it was. And then I realized that I was feeling envious because there were things that I wanted for myself, but in reality, I was not working towards those things, right? And so I put my big girl pants on and I got to work. And alhamdulillah, that's history now. Okay, so number five, journaling to find clarity. Whenever I'm stuck or confused about like my next steps, about a big decision, about life's big changes, I turn to my journal. Writing helps me map out my thoughts and make more informed decisions. It slows my thoughts down enough to write out a pros and cons list, for example, and then write out the best case scenario, which then gives me something to make dua for, right? And then finally, number six, journaling when you need a safe space. By the way, I say finally number six, but trust me, there's like so many more, benefits when it comes to journaling. Anyway, my journal is my safe space and has been ever since I was little. It's a place where I can completely be honest with myself without fear of being judged, right? It's like having a conversation with a non judgmental friend. Sometimes when I write my heart out, like, those deeper things, I end up ripping up the page afterwards. That's when I'm using pen and paper, so that there's no trace of it left behind. Journaling is my go to because I do need safe spaces more often than any human would be comfortable giving me. So, again, if you've ruled out any mental health crisis where professional help is needed, but you still feel the need to work through stuff, which I think we all should work through our stuff, I highly suggest you consider journaling. Therapy and journaling can accomplish similar goals like providing a safe space, being non judgmental, giving you permission to feel your feelings, and honestly, even offering you space to cry. Like, I would journal and cry while I'm journaling, subhanAllah. A good therapist does not actually give you answers or solve your problems, by the way. They believe that you have what it takes to get to the other side, and honestly, what they do is they just support you as you take the steps towards that. And yes, journaling does achieve a similar goal. Okay, so if there's only one thing that you're taking away from this, please give journaling a try. Start a journaling habit and see how it works for you. By the way, let me know if you'd like a breakdown of how I journal. I would love, love, love to support you as you start or improve your journaling journey. And hey, you know that friend who's always like stressed out, people like me, that friend who's like always in their feelings and things, I think they'll like this voice note. Please do share it with them. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this voice note helpful, please, please, please hit the heart or thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe for more voice notes from Miriam. Happy journaling!